Hi, how are you today? Happy Thursday. I'm glad you're here today. Okay, we've got some great books. This week we've been talking all about adding and our numbers. Today we're going to talk a little bit about adding money. But first, I want to read you all this book called Mr. Hobson's Garden. It's such a nice book. Let's look at it together. It said, Mr. Hobson's garden wasn't always a garden. A house used to stand there, but the house was so old that it got torn down. All that was left was an empty lot. People started throwing things in the lot. They threw papers and boxes. They even threw away an old chair. The lot looked bad and smelled worse. Going to and from school, I had to pass the lot. One day the trash began to go away. Every day more was gone. After a week, the lot was empty again. Who took all that trash away? I asked my neighbor, Miss Reyes. Mr. Hobson, she said. He's the man who lives next to the lot. He's got tired of living next to such an ugly place. The next day, the lot was filled with brown soil. What's happening? I asked Miss Reyes. Mr. Hobson is planting a garden, she said. Every day I saw Mr. Hobson planting seeds in the garden. He used a hose to water the garden. In the spring, I saw birds and bees and butterflies flying around the garden. By summer, it was full of green plants, flowers, and vegetables. Mr. Hobson's garden was the best thing to happen to our block. Oh, isn't that cool looking? One day, the garden didn't look good. The next day, it looked worse. After a week, the plants were dropping. What's the matter with Mr. Hobson's garden? I asked Miss Reyes. Didn't you hear? She said. Mr. Hobson is very sick. I felt bad. Mr. Hobson might be sick for a long time. The garden would become an ugly old lot again. Mr. Hobson would be sad. I thought and I thought. At last I came up with a plan. That night when Mom came home, I told her about it. That's great, Sam, she said. Oh, he's got a plan. The next night, some of the kids on our block came to our apartment. I told them about my plan. We'll take care of Mr. Hobson's garden until he gets better. That's a great plan, they all agreed. The next morning, we worked in Mr. Hobson's garden. We cut off dead leaves, we pulled weeds, and we picked vegetables. Before long, Mr. Hobson's garden started to look good again. Then Mr. Hobson began to feel better. Every day, he watched us while we worked in the garden. I can take over now, he said one day, but we still want to help, we told him. From then on, we liked working in Mr. Hobson's garden even more. That's because it was our garden too. That was a great book. The end. And it was called Mr. Hobson's Garden. Okay, I wanted to look at some money and counting with us. I have some pennies right here. You know, not all coins look the same, so let's discuss them. Oh, there's a penny right there. Let's look at this. This is our Disney book. Today, we're going to be looking at Disney time and money. Let's look inside. First, it starts with, let's review the value of each amount of money, okay? So up here we have a penny, and it says it's worth, let's hold that up. We've got a penny. It says it's worth 1 cent. Right here we have a nickel. It's worth 5 cents. It's bigger than a penny. And over here we have a dime. It's worth 10 cents. Down here we have a quarter. 1/4. It's worth 25 cents. And then we have a $half worth 50 cents and a dollar, and that's worth $1. Let's look at some of these together. It wants us to match the amount to the increment over here that it's worth. So let's do that together. The first one we have right here is a nickel. Let's look at that. The very first one we have right here is a nickel. So is a nickel worth a penny? No, it's not worth 1 cent. A nickel is worth 5 cents right here. That's the right answer. Let's do the next one together. Down here we have a quarter. That's a quarter right there. We know it's not worth 1 cent or 5 cents. A quarter's not worth 10 cents. It's worth 25 cents. So that's that one. A quarter is worth 25 cents. The next one we have here is a $half. Let's see where that one is. A $half is not worth 1 cent or 5 cents or 10 cents or 25 cents. A $half is worth 50 cents. Right there. The next one we have down here is a dime. A dime is worth 10 cents. Let's match it up. We've got 1 penny, 1 cent, no, 5 cents, 10 cents. That's us, 10 cents. 10 cents is worth a dime. A dime is 10 cents. Let's do the next one, a dollar. A dollar is equal to 100 cents or 100 pennies. $1, $1. And finally down here, the last one is the 1 penny that we looked at earlier. 1 penny is worth 1 cent, right up there. That was great. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add together some money, okay? Let's look at this together. If we have a penny and a nickel, so we've got, this is worth 1 cent and this is worth 5 cents, total that would be worth 6 cents. Down here we have a quarter worth 25 cents and a nickel worth 5 cents. So 5 cents and 25 cents, we'd have a total of 30 cents. Let's do the next one. Up here we have a quarter worth 25 cents and a $half worth 50 cents. Together, those would be worth 75 cents. Down here, we have a quarter again and a dime. A quarter is worth 25 cents and a dime is worth 10 cents. Together, they would be worth 35 cents. Down here, we have a dime worth 10 cents and a nickel worth 5 cents. Together, a dime and a nickel would be worth 15 cents. And let's do the last one together. We have a penny right down here, and that's worth 1 cent. And then over here, we have a quarter worth 25 cents. And together, if we put the penny and the quarter together, 25 cents plus 1 cent is 26 cents. That would be the total for those two. I've got some bills over here I want to look at with you all too. Let's look at these. This is the $1 we already talked about. This isn't real money. This is our foam money that's magnetic. That's $1 worth 100 pennies. So here's our penny, and 100 of those is $1. Now, if we had 5 of these, that would be worth 500 pennies. So $5 is equal to our $5 bill right here. That's 500 pennies. So 500 of these is equal to this $5 bill. Now, if we had 2 of these, we would have $10. That would be our $10 bill. So we could have 2 $5 bills or 10 $1 bills. And that would be equal to our $10 bill. And we've got one more to look at. If we had 2 $10 bills, that would be our $20 bill. So 2 10s is our $20 bill. Let's go all the way through it. We've got, if we had $21 bills, that would be our $20 bill. Or if we had 4 $5 bills, that would be our $20 bill. Or if we had 2 $10 bills, that would be our $20 bill. We're going to keep looking at this. And it's a lot to unpack and learn about, but learning about money can be a lot of fun. And looking at unique money can be a lot of fun too. So we're going to keep studying this. I've got one more book to share with you all today. It's called A Trip on the Erie Canal. Let's look at it. It says, I am on Lake Erie in Buffalo, New York. The Hodgeses are hitching horses to our boat. Hodgeses take care of the horses on the canal. The horses will walk on the tow path and pull us along. Come with me for my first trip on the Erie Canal. Wow, look at the pictures. It says the scenery is beautiful. In some places, the banks are lined with rocks. They are thick forest of pine trees. It is so quiet, I can hear the water moving. It's fun to ride over an aqueduct. An aqueduct is something like a bridge. On top of it is a trough to hold water. There is a tow path for horses too. Let's look at that. That's the aqueduct right there. I think the pictures are great in this. Now we are passing a cabin. The settlers are chopping wood, but they stop and watch us go by. The climate is harsh here. Soon the weather will get cold and snowy. The canal will freeze, and the settlers will have nothing to watch until spring. To go downhill, our boat travels through locks. Locks are little steps with a door at each end. We sail into the lock and the doors close. Water pours out. When the water reaches the same level as the water in the next lock, the boat moves through. There are many growing cities along the canal. In Rochester, we have time to get off the boat and walk around. Rochester is a busy place. It says, soon we'll come to the end of the canal. Then we'll travel along the Hudson River to New York City. We'll see the Atlantic Ocean for the first time. I can't wait. How cool is that? It says, a trip on the Erie Canal. I saw that little book and thought it was cool. I wanted to look at it with you all. I hope you all have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Goodbye.